Okay. Welcome to your first challenge in the methods section. In this challenge, what I'd like you to do is, let's say that we're writing a program for like an Uno card game. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to create a custom method that takes in the parameters for a sprite, that would be like the card, and the color, which would be what color that you're switching it to, and maybe an integer for how many cards that the player has to pick up. And this should be all one method. So imagine it's that situation where you're laying down a wild card. So you're declaring the color to change to, how many cards the other player needs to pick up, and I'd like you to actually access the sprite renderer on that sprite and change its color to the color of the parameter that you passed through. But let's open up Unity real quick so I can walk you through what that looks like. So what you have is a custom method that takes in 3 parameters: a sprite, a color, and a number. And what it should do inside the method is set the sprite to that new color, add the number to our total number of cards that we have, to total cards number. You're going to need a reference to that sprite, right? So within this, you're going to need to get the sprite renderer component in order to set it to a new color. You're also going to need a variable to hold the total number of cards you have in order to add this number to it. And let's say that this method gets called in update when the space key is pressed. You're also in Unity going to need to create a game object that's a sprite in order to make this work. Okay, so that's the challenge. Go ahead and pause the video here and do your best to complete this Uno challenge on your own. And if you get stuck, don't worry, I'll show you a solution in just a second. Okay, hopefully you paused the video, hopefully you figured out a solution, and if not, no worries, we're gonna do that right now. So I'm gonna fill in the pseudocode and then I'll create the sprite in there. So let's create our custom method. So I'm gonna say void, maybe I'll just call it wildcard, and then in here, we need to take in 3 parameters, right? We need a sprite, a color, and a number. So I'm gonna call it sprite card. The next parameter we need is a color, so I'm gonna call it color, new color, and then we need a number, so an integer, and that's cards to pick up. So now in here, we need a reference to our card, which we don't have anywhere, right? So let's create a sprite called current card, and we'll make this private, and then we'll assign it in the inspector serialized field. So we're going to pass through current card into this method, and we want to change the color, right? So we're going to say card.get component, and we're looking for the sprite renderer, and inside that we can get the material and the color and set that equal to our new color, right? So this parameter here is now being used. And lastly, we need to add those cards. So let's create a private integer for our current cards and go ahead and serialize the field. And now inside this method, we can say current cards plus equals cards to pick up. And lastly, we need to call this method when the space key is pressed. So let's go ahead and check for input. If input.getKeyDown, keycode.space, and we're gonna call wildcard. And in here, we've got to pass through our 3 parameters. So the first one is our current card. The next one is a color. So we get to decide what color. Maybe I'm gonna say color dot, is purple one? Purple is not one. Color dot red, sure. And then cards to pick up, let's say there's 4 cards to pick up. Cool. So let's hop into Unity, create the sprite, and assign it in our inspector. So in our main camera, you can see it's looking for a current card and our current number of cards. That's a little bit confusing, but I hope you understand. And let's go ahead and go to game object and create, do we not have wait, I want to create a sprite. Okay, so really quickly, because we created this project in 3D, when I go to right click and create, 3D object is the only one available, but I want to create a sprite. And there's a package for that, so if we go to Window, Package Manager, you can install the 2D sprite package, and that will allow you to create 2D objects. So right here in our package manager, I've chosen packages Unity registry, and then right here, 2D sprite, go ahead and install that. My bad. We should have set that up before pausing the video for the challenge. Okay, now that that's installed, 2D object is now available in this context window right here. So let's right click and create a 2D object that's a sprite, and we can choose any of these shapes. I'm gonna choose a square because it's most like a card. And now in our main camera, I can assign square right here. Oh, and it really doesn't want me to assign this square. What I should change this to, instead of a sprite, let's change this to a game object. because on that object, it still has a sprite renderer, so we should be okay. So let's go ahead and save this once more. And then also down here, see where it's looking for this is now an incorrect parameter because it was looking for a sprite before. let's make this one a game object as well. And we can still get the sprite renderer that's on that game object. That's perfect. Okay. Go back into Unity, and now our current card, it's looking for a game object. So we can drag and drop the square in there. Maybe let's set our current cards to 10, and let's hit play. Okay, and now on our game view, I'm gonna click space, and it's turned the card red, and our current cards is now 14 since we've picked up 4. And I think I can keep hitting space, yeah, and my cards keep going up by 4 each time. The color doesn't change because we hard-coded that to be color.red, but perfect. So that concludes this challenge. In the next video, we're going to take a look at what a return type function is, and that will set you up for the remainder of the challenges that are in this section. Okay, see you in the next one.